This is my friend Pamela, and I want to share her story with you. Pamela's story is all about God's faithfulness, and I want to let you know that she has been a part of the Women's Discipleship Program since 2015 here at Abaana's Hope, and I want to share with you how God has been faithful and how He has used the discipleship program to impact her life. The suffering of women in northern Uganda has been well documented over the past 4 decades. So many women can tell you the stories of their suffering and heartache, but few stories are as horrendous as the story of my friend Aluu Pamela. When Pamela was young, her father rejected her mother and married a second wife. The mother soon ran off because she was trying to avoid the abuse of her father, and this happened when Pamela was 5. The mother-in-law showed great hatred towards Pamela. Pamela was forced to do all of the household chores and was often left to eat alone after having cooked for the whole family. When Pamela was 12 years old, she was sent to fetch water with one of her mother-in-law's most favorite pots. On the way back home from fetching the water, the pot fell off of her head and it broke into pieces. Her mother-in-law was so enraged that she picked up an axe and threw it in Pamela's direction, striking her in the heel. Pamela was hospitalized for days to recover from this injury. At the age of 13, Pamela was abducted by the LRA rebel army. She was abused and desensitized and indoctrinated into their ranks. She was chained together with other captives, and they were forced to go long distances. There were several instances when she was forced to do horrible things. One time she went into a family compound and the captives forced this family to put their family members into a hut and burn all 40 family members. And then on another day they went into a family compound where a witch doctor was performing rituals. They forced this family to cut this witch doctor up into pieces and then cook her and actually feed her to the family. One day, as Pamela and her soldiers were getting closer to Gulu, the government army actually came and attacked. Pamela heard gunshots all around her and she began to run. But then there was a huge blast and Pamela found herself buried under soil. When she regained consciousness, she actually was able to crawl out of the soil, and to her knowledge, she was the only survivor from that day. Pamela was then able to walk into Gulu and she turned herself in. Shortly after turning herself in, she was allowed to go back home, but things with the mother-in-law got worse, and so the mother-in-law actually arranged a marriage for Pamela. But this man was 30 years old. He was a terrible drunkard and had already had multiple wives. He abused Pamela seriously. After they had had their 3rd child, he actually became very angry at Pamela and threw a piece of metal at her face, breaking 5 of her teeth. He was imprisoned for 5 years after doing this. But Pamela stayed on at her husband's home just for the sake of her children. 7 years ago, Pamela's husband returned from prison, and shortly after that, Pamela became involved at Abaana's Hope. Here, she heard the gospel, she repented of her sins, and placed her hope in Jesus. Today, Pamela praises God for her salvation. She is involved here at Abaana's Hope and is so thankful for what God is doing here. She has seen the gospel make so many changes in her family. Pamela is part of the discipleship program here at Abaana's Hope. She is one of 12 women that every week hears the gospel and is being deeply rooted into the Word of God. She is able to go out in her community now and boldly, without fear, share the message of Jesus Christ. She has even witnessed her husband become saved, and he is now a regular attender of our church here at Abaana's Hope. Pamela is a vital part of this community as she shares the gospel willingly every week. Proverbs 18:10 says, "The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous man runs into it and is safe." Pamela is safe in the arms of Jesus. We have seen the disciple become a discipler, all to the glory of God.